Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and another episode without our dear Mr. Nate Newton. However, you've heard me talk on here before that I get emails every single week about bringing people on. People want to be sponsors. They want to be guests. They want to come on and tell their story and express to me in the world of how great they are. And most of those emails really just kind of dead end right there. I get an email from an individual about 2 weeks ago, and she says, hey, right out of the gate, it says, hey, I loved the podcast episode, The Pain of Leadership, especially when you said this part, and they quoted me in it. And then the conversation then goes on to introduce themselves, and the question came up of, hey, I was wondering if there's an opportunity for me to add value to your listeners. And just a quick sidebar, if you want to get my attention in an email, don't talk about yourself first. And so I responded. The email was signed Brittany Murphy. I responded to Brittany, and I said, okay, let's have a conversation first, because I'm kind of particular about who we invite onto the show. A 20-minute meeting turned into an hour-long conversation between her and I. And I said, absolutely, I want to get you on the podcast because we align in so many things. And all of that leads me up to my introduction with Brittany Murphy at One Thing Marketing. And this marketing company is very unique in the way that it works with skilled trades companies. Brittany, as you're going to hear, grew up with a father in the skilled trades. So her perspective and what she does and the value that she adds, I'm really excited. Not just for you, but to be honest with me and what I'm going to learn in this conversation. So, Brittany, I hope that introduction pays you the respect that you're owed, and thank you for being on here.
Absolutely, Josh. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Let's break them in just to know that Nate is not here, guys, but Josh and I talked beforehand. I'm going to stay on brand with this podcast the entire time, so do not worry there. So excited to be here, Josh, and I actually appreciate you remembering my father's story about kind of how I grew up in that side of things. So I'm excited to get going.
Me too, and I think I'm really feeling this need to replace Nate now. I mean, you kind of hit that one right out of the park. So, Brittany, tell us a little bit about you. As you and I both stated, your dad was in the skilled trades. And now you work with a company that works with skilled trades. Kind of, what's your story? How'd you end up where you are?
Yeah, so a couple of decades ago, I was born. No, let's not start back that far. But I do want to start very quickly to say that my father, for over 30 years, was a pipe fitter for a local sprinkler company. So kind of what Josh and I talked about was I really grew up on that aspect of his local business did good, but not always good. So there were months where we were not eating well. There were months where my dad was never home and we were eating great because he was so busy. So coming from that background, we really understand as far as when we talk to skilled trades, A, I know your time's valuable. B, you don't have time to do any of this shit. And C, it's not what you got into business to do, most likely. So that's where I'd rather step in, because as much as I know about how to replace an HVAC unit, I don't want to touch the damn thing. I'd rather help you market your business so therefore you can do that. And I can just make you look good on the sidelines of it. So we've been in business since 2011, and around 2018, we realized about half of our clients were trades. So anything home services, plumbing, roofing, paving, electrical, all those guys. And we kind of partnered with a local distribution company, grew even more to really understanding that all of our guys are trades. Let's focus on that. It's a completely different world, and in a sense, it's something that's never going to go away, which I love. We're always going to be needed when it comes to trades. So how can we stay in and kind of be at the competition if we're more of the mom and pop shop versus these big brand guys out there?
Does the company just specialize in trades now? That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah. So kind of our job as far as preaching what we bitch at our clients to do is niche down and know who your target audience is. So yes, we have specifically changed all of our external marketing to really only preach and talk about all of our trades clients, and all but two today are in the trades fields, and all the ones that I mentioned previously all over the US as well.
What was your attraction to marketing, to getting into this position?
So I had kind of always loved it. I went to school for the dumbest degree ever. I'll just be candid with you. It was called Merchandising, Apparel, and Textiles with a minor in business. Do you have any fucking clue what I would do with that degree, Josh?
Have a sweatshop.
Basically, oh my God, how'd you know? No one guesses that correctly.
Yeah.
But yes, that's probably what I would do. I went into the retail field, management, did a lot of corporate management, absolutely hated it. But what I loved was the aspect of whenever I was able to kind of have that creative juices flowing. So, for example, how can I lay out these products to have the most appeal? I loved that. However, what sucked about corporate life is you have to fit exactly within the mold that corporate thinks is going to do well. It's not customized for what the client and the individual in that area or region really wants. So what I love about our type of marketing is, especially since we're niche in the trades, we understand what they need. All I have to have from any business I work with is help me understand how your people in your area find, book, call, and close with you. Because we're not too far apart, Josh, but you and I could be completely different on how we want to be sold and bought to.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the parts that really we need to be filled in with. And that's the fun, creative part. And that's kind of where my passion for marketing really has kind of come into is we're not ever going to recreate the wheel. No one's going to.
Yeah, I love that approach. And I think you've already kind of answered this question, but how do you define marketing?
Great question. Really, for me, marketing is anything that's getting some visibility for your business. That's what makes it very broad. So marketing can be as much as you have a billboard up just to see your logo and hope people see it as they drive by. Other marketing can be exactly you are going door to door with door hangers, business cards, and directly trying to advertise to people on the streets. Anything to get your name out there is marketing. There's good marketing and bad marketing. Mm-hmm. There's digital, traditional, and all their sorts. But the broad range of sense is we're trying to build business and visibility through marketing.
Okay. I know where parts of this conversation are going to go, but I'm more excited about the parts that I don't. And it leads me to this question. How much marketing do you see from an outside perspective that's ego-driven and not value-driven?
Oh, I'm so glad I can be honest on this podcast. Okay, so what I think is more ego-driven today at times is going to be more sometimes any advertising that's specifically trying to build brand awareness versus value awareness. So billboards can be great. People get a lot of business off of them. People don't get a lot of business off them. It depends what area and other circumstances you have around it. But for example, if you have a billboard and it just has your logo on it and a phone number, well, that would just be called brand awareness. You're just trying to get your logo out there and have people know who you are in town. Much better way on that billboard, what offer or special do you have that people would want to freaking call you for versus seeing a logo and a phone number? That's kind of the easiest thing I can tell you. So for example, I was driving across the bridge up into Indiana, saw a billboard for a local roofing company. It had a picture of the owner. It had, blank roofing and a phone number on it. Now, I stared at that billboard the entire time because I was the passenger princess, as we call it today. So I got to stare at all the billboards while driving. And noticing that one, I was staring at it for so long because I was like, all right, what the heck am I supposed to do now that I see this? And the answer was absolutely nothing. Unless I knew I was looking for a roof specialist at that moment, that billboard did nothing. So it could build brand awareness, but to me, that's more ego versus if they said free roof inspections for all Southern Indiana homes. Well, hell yeah, that drives me to say, right. You know what, we did have some big windstorms. I'm curious if my roof's okay. I don't need a new roof. I don't want a new roof, but I would actually like that free inspection just to kind of have a second pair of eyes on it. That's a huge difference to me.
Yeah. Here's why I asked that question.
Do you have a billboard with just your logo on it?
I had a billboard with my face on it.
Ooh, yeah. Not ego driven at all.
None. And that was why I asked that question. It was purely an egotistical tactic when my business partner at the time and I started the HVAC company was it and I'm laughing now because thinking back about it, right? It's very comical and immature, but we basically used the billboard as a kind of planting our flag, and letting everyone know, that we had worked within the industry, that we were here, and we had 2 billboards.
So wait, really quick, Josh, just to clarify, the billboard was for your competition?
It was to let everybody know that we had arrived.
Josh was like, I'm fucking here, people, and you're going to know about it.
That's exactly what it was. And to make it even better, one of the billboards was right next to our shop.
Yeah.
And
not a bad idea, though.
That part of it was a smart idea, but it should have been a marketing with an arrow and this says, kind of here we are type thing. But, at the time it felt right because we were operating on this level of this is how we were going to attack the market. We wanted to strike fear in the enemy kind of thing. And, looking back now, I'm not sure we got any business from that logo. We had a lot of conversations about the billboard.
I was about to ask, what conversions, if any, were you able to track from those?
People were they would tell me that they saw it, but I don't know if we ever got a sale from my face being on a billboard because it added no value to people. It added nothing. Like I said, it was really just kind of a threat to our enemies, which is comical to say.
I kind of like the aggressiveness there. My thought is maybe, maybe the client's idea they're supposed to be getting from that billboard is, a dude with a huge beard. Yeah, he's a good HVAC guy. I'll call him.
Good HVAC guy. The sad thing was back then I couldn't even grow a beard. I had this little short groomed goatee, and my business partner did too. But that was why I asked that question, is because I made the mistake of approaching the marketing aspect from ego instead of value, and we made that transition on accident. This was definitely not strategic. We made the transition on accident to go to value-based. And most of it was accident. During that process is when I really started developing myself as a leader and cultivating and building teams. So I wanted to add value through the sense of educating people about our team, about our services, what we offer, ultimately how we can solve their problem. And so our marketing approach, like I said, changed from that regard. We did TV commercials. We had wrapped vehicles, yard signs. We did home shows. We did, just about everything that you could think of in that era. Okay. Instagram. I don't think Instagram existed when we started the company. I'm pretty sure, but we had multiple different approaches. So that's why I asked that question. And I really like your response, because the marketing has to be able to answer a question or solve a problem. Yeah.
I appreciate you not screaming at me, since I basically described your billboard as the one that I thought was not a good choice of money.
No. I set myself up for that. So
yeah, but just so everyone knows, listeners, we never talked about this preemptively, so I really called Josh out right there. But can I ask you, when did you start? If you did any tracking, did you do any tracking for the ego, or even when you got to the value side of your marketing?
We, as far as like having a separate number type tracking or metrics, we weren't that sophisticated in our approach. And it actually made me laugh when you said, our tactic was very aggressive, because that was the only thing that we knew. And I've shared on here before, I said my business plan was to not be outworked. That was my whole business model. It was to be aggressive and, take bodies and get a head count. And as we became smarter, we didn't get to the point of being sophisticated enough to track our calls to our own fault. What we did internally, though, was when our EFI would answer the phone with a new client, we would always inquire as to how they heard about us. And
one of the best traditional ways to still track today.
Thank you. And so that was our approach, because I wanted to know, was it from a yard sign? Was it from the TV commercial? Was it from the ruggedly handsome billboard we had up on the highway?
Exactly.
What was it that was attracting clients to our business?
No, I love that. And that's kind of where, to throw a little bit of salt into the wound of all of these questions is, when it comes down to marketing, you're going to have so many answers from different people you interview, you talk to, areas, regions. And that's kind of why the thing I was drilling you on was, did you track any of this? Because that's really where, the further we get into this, you're going to see a lot of my answers are going to come down to, let's just get the frickin' math, because I'm not a genie. I have no magic crystal ball, and anyone in marketing can't guarantee you or tell you shit. And if they do, you should probably run because they're a really good salesperson, not a good marketer, because they don't know how data and how metrics and how all this works. And nothing's a perfect conversion rate. So within that, that's kind of where all of these things just 100% go to just track your shit.
I want to reiterate the point. When I decide to bring someone on or invite someone on this podcast, I'm very deliberate about the fact that we align on certain things. And what you just said, it was a brilliant mic drop about things that we agree on. You have to collect data. And when I work with clients, I tell them, look, I'm not going to give you tax advice. I'm not an attorney, and I don't know anything about marketing. And we will get into what I share with people about marketing. You and I had a conversation about it, but it's like, I don't know anything about marketing. When someone asks me something, I had a gentleman ask me the other day about, it was either door hangers or yard signs. And he's like, I just want to know what you thought. I said, here's what I think. Do it and collect data. Mm-hmm. That's it. I can't give you an equation that's going to generate a perfect result because of the neighborhood that you're in, the demographic that you're in, the financial demographic that you're in. I said, just try it. Just go collect data. You have to collect the dots before you connect the dots. So one of the things that I really appreciate about your approach is honesty. And it's important for clients to understand that this is a work in progress. You're going to have to figure out what resonates with people in your area.
And almost all marketing works that way. So, I mean, it's not just 100% the digital side of what we're talking about, but I mean, even those billboards, if we want to go back to the most well-known traditional thing, someone with a huge sign, put it in front of the face of others, like, what about that, A, is appealing to them, and B, how the frick are we going to track if this is working or not? Because that's the one thing we talked about beforehand is I hate the idea and the method of basically throwing spaghetti or throwing money against the wall and hoping and praying that all of it sticks. We know some of it might just because of, luckily, statistics, something we'll hopefully catch. But it's like, that's not how we should fish in this. You know, like we're not just trying to catch the widest net with a lot of holes in it and hoping we get a few sharks in this. Like we actually want to have good, tight nets. And maybe that circle isn't as big. It's a tighter area, but we're fishing, but we know we're going to get this entire school of fish. I mean, like it's not just ones or twosies. Like we're doing a really good job of it. And because you've actually tracked which part of the sea is good, you know, to go back to those areas and basically fish in those areas. And that's kind of one thing that I know you talked about is, you know, really just kind of getting that like local community sense of where you're at, like owning the area you're in is a huge part of marketing that we all kind of realize before we get to the aspect of spreading too thin, which is where I was kind of bitching to that, you know, a lot of people don't hone in where they're at and they want to kind of grow. And that's not how even marketing can help it, but that's not a good business model to match with marketing. One of those two has got to give.
Is marketing and lead generation the same thing?
Marketing, in my opinion, should lead into lead generation.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, again, just more of the visibility in the sense of we're going to put ourselves in the eyes of people when they need us. So my specialty is search engine optimization, SEO for short. So when I talk marketing, I'm mainly talking SEO. And the reason I'm talking about that as well, just kind of backtracking a few steps, let's just say someone's roof is leaking, their toilet's overflowing, their light switch will not turn on or off. And guess what? They've bitched at their husband 3 times now, and he's not doing a damn thing. Well, that housewife picks up her phone, types in electrician near me, plumber near me, HVAC near me, and they are going through the first few people who either show up in Google Maps because you can push call from your phone and get directly with that operator and start yelling at them what your needs are. Or you might go to the few websites that kind of go below it, and you're going to go kind of through that process there as far as finding a new person. So to me, whatever marketing you're doing, I want it to be marketing, ideally, that is there and present when someone who actually needs your services can find you. And that's why I lean more on SEO and Google Ads, PPC, not a bad thing either. We can definitely kind of talk about that because that's a huge source of buying data, as we talked about earlier. But to me, like the whole lead gen when it comes from marketing is because I was there when someone freaking needed me, I actually get the business, or I actually get the chance to get the business because they're calling me. So kind of in a sense, like, let's just say, I know that billboard was more for the competitors, but if that was like a pure value add, like, holy shit, if none of your other competitors were offering anything remotely close to a value, like, boom, I see you, you're visible, you're giving me the things I need, and you're making it so straightforward for me to go through the business. So again, there's some marketing that's not for lead gen, but I would consider that more branding, brand awareness, you know, and that's kind of where your billboard kind of went to. I want to make sure people know I'm here, you know, and I kind of want, honestly, my competition's buttholes to squeeze up a little bit, knowing that I'm here, which kind of sounds like what that billboard was probably more geared towards than getting clients to, you know.
It definitely was. I like that you kind of separated it out a little bit. Some of it is for brand awareness and some of it is for lead generation. I hadn't really thought about marketing in those two simple terms before. I like how you broke that down like that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if, and here's a great example, quick story of good, but yet not perfect branding. There is a billboard that goes up yearly around town in Louisville, and it says, "Your wife's hot. You should call us." And it's an HVAC company, obviously. This goes in the summer, you know, and it's kind of like a funny thing. And the pictures they have, it's just a good, funny, great, to me, branding type of like, oh, haha, HVAC company's got jokes. I like that. Now, the part of the story that I have not said yet is, Josh, what company was that?
Don't know.
No fucking clue.
Interesting.
I don't remember the logo. I don't remember much about it. So that's kind of where it was great because it's a good and it's, so that's kind of, when I talk high level marketing, there's all caveats to this. So if you're okay with still the branding, like that was a great little tagline. It's funny. If you go to their website, because you remember their name, unlike me, you might see that. You get the match back with the branding. Okay, wow, yeah, I've heard of these guys. Here's that again. I get that match back. That is good marketing. However, where you have to remember, again, if the client doesn't need you, then they're not going to remember any of this detail. I remember that joke. I thought it was hilarious. In 2020, guess what? I was that bitch that was sweating because my AC broke. Right. I had to buy a whole new furnace and AC unit that year. So that's kind of where, had I seen that maybe when I needed it, I might have called them. So it's kind of where, again, no marketing or branding is ever going to be 100% perfect, but there's all things we have to do. You know, maybe in a sense that billboard with your face on it, you think it might not have driven a lot of business for me, but you don't know now that the logo was always the same. You kind of started creating that little bit of, oh, well, I saw the logo on the highway. I saw one of their trucks. Oh, I just drove past that street. You know, that's the other logo again. Those are all still marketing. They should be leading into lead generation, ideally. But that's kind of where, again, guys, like the literally way to not have to lick your wounds over marketing because you spent and blew $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 and you said, where the fuck did it go at the end of the day? It's because you're not tracking it. You're not collecting the data you get from spending all of this good money and then actually using that data to make a better decision as a business owner on what to do. So you're not honestly complaining to people like me or your radio host because you didn't get what you wanted out of it. You honestly don't know. So you're probably blaming a lot of people. Instead, let's be adults. Let's track it. Let's get data. Let's be scientific with this. Let's just not know that if we don't track it perfectly, we're always going to be making stomach guesses. And those gut guesses are not always perfect. It's just kind of what you think and you feel. So people mention the billboard to you, but you don't think you've actually gotten calls off of it. But again, had we tracked it, you might have actually at least closed enough to pay for it.
Right.
And that was the first 3 months you had it up.
So there's two avenues I want to go down through this conversation, marketing and business. And since we're on the marketing side, that's where I want to continue to go. So to reverse engineer from lead generation, because that's lead generation and brand building is kind of the big goals. You're talking about high level marketing. If we reverse engineer that, where do they need to start? That low level marketing or that brand building to create brand awareness? Where do these companies, where do these operators need to begin?
So I would probably say there's about 3 basic things you could start with that's really going to help as far as, hey, I'm already in this area. I need to focus on the fundamental things to do better. And that's what we should all have. I mean, and if no one has this, punch yourself in the face a little bit and go do it because I told you to.
I love it.
So like, number 1, we have a website. This is our 24-hour salesperson that says exactly what the frick we do and what area we do it, and has all the information and contact info for someone who is interested in you to go down there. So that's already, they're on your site, one step, they're a potential client. A step outside of that is kind of in a sense easily reviews. I mean, let's talk about the map pack area, so ranking. So before I jump the gun, there's 3 reasons people rank in the Google map pack. The first one's proximity. So how physically close is your address, even if it's hidden? Google knows where your address is, obviously, because you still had to get that damn postcard. So how close is that address to where that physical new client's searching for you? The second one is how well is that website optimized? So does your website have enough information about everything that you do? So if you repair furnaces, if you repair ACs, if you do ductless, mini splits, if you have maintenance agreements, all of those things need to be on your website because it helps pull relevance. So when someone types HVAC repair near me, well, guess what? Your website has all this information. It's relevant because of your industry, and now it's relevant because of the area you're in. Ta-da, you can kind of show up in that area. And the third one to rank in that map pack is actually reviews. So that's kind of where I was telling you as well. That third step for your foundation would be kind of to getting those reviews, because it's such low-hanging fruit. Almost anybody and everybody who has a business or has worked in the trades has at least 1 to 5 past clients. Hands down, so easily. And that's kind of where it's a lot of those processes as well. It's kind of what I complain a lot about is we're forgetting those really easy steps that you don't realize someone who's a homeowner is checking all of those avenues to make sure you're the one they want to choose before they call you.
I want to talk about the second one just for a second with the information building relevance. Relevance.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Relevance on the website is companies have to stop hiding information. If your diagnostic fee is $99, put on your website that your diagnostic fee is $99, because my experience from old school methods was it was to generate a call so you could tell people what your price was. That doesn't work anymore. If somebody goes to your website and they don't know how much your diagnostic fee is, they're going to go to the next website. They're not going to call you and ask you how much is it to come out on a Saturday? How much is it for a diagnostic fee? They want to know that information. You have to put that up there. If you have an approval process for financing, put that link on your website. Create relevance with your website, but stop hiding information about your company. People want to know how much they're going to have to spend. It's not about how much you cost. It's about how much they need to invest to get what they want. Put that on your website. Stop fucking putting it under the rug and hoping that people are going to call you and have a conversation so you can convince them why you think your diagnostic fee should be $99. That's fucking stupid. Stop doing that. Put it out there. Put it on the website. Let people know who you are. And then when they call you, they're already expecting what the price is going to be.
Oh, that's the sound of angels singing, Josh, because that was music to my ears. I mean, the biggest complaint. So I'm our marketing director, but I'm the person you would talk to if you actually want to get a strategy for SEO. I'm the person who does all of that strategizing. So as I mentioned, you're the one that has to teach me your area and how that area operates, but I understand enough about the trades to create that strategy for you. When it comes down to those sales calls, you have no idea how many of the times I talk to these guys and they say, I want to rank. I need to generate more leads. Okay, awesome. And then they'll talk about the website. Well, I don't want to put a lot of stuff on it. I just want what we need, just what we need, the bare minimum, what we need. Like, I'm more focused on ranking. The problem with that ideology is those two things are 100% hand in hand. Mm-hmm. You do not have a good website if there's no information on there, because you're absolutely right, Josh. One thing you have to think about is, as crazy as it is, we're getting older. Every generation below us is getting more of the homeowner age. And guess what? We don't really think about the 22-something picking up the phone and making a very professional call saying, hi, my roof is leaking in the northwest corner. Can I get someone to come out here for a free quote? You're probably not getting that. You're getting the person who's like, damn, I can't text them. They're wanting the easiest and simplistic ways. And I'm not here to pick on Gen Z in that reason, but everybody now wants that simplistic seat. Like we've had it. We love it. And the other thing to think about, that my example I throw I kind of like to throw, a wrench into everyone's plans when they say that is, funny enough, my last name's Murphy. I've had a lot of bad things happen to me because Murphy's Law is real, luckily. One thing I've noticed is in the last, I think 8 years now I've owned my home, I've replaced almost everything, knock on wood, other than the roof. I have a complete new water heater. I have a brand new furnace. I have a brand new AC unit. I have a brand new kitchen, all new appliances, working on the bathrooms, everything. When any time something has broken in my home, it has ironically been after working hours. Imagine that. 6 o'clock, my water heater goes, no more for you, Brittany. I'm just going to go ahead and leak all over the floor. Now, put yourself in your client's shoes. Me, 6 o'clock. I come home from work. My water heater is leaking everywhere. I turn off the plumbing and I go, shit. I pick up my phone and I'm going to search for a plumber near me and kind of call a few guys and see who can come out. Well, I learned very quickly that most close at 4:30 or 5, maybe 5:30 if I'm lucky for extended hours because plumbers start early. That's absolutely fine. What you're not realizing is I want that website then to give me like a contact form or maybe an online scheduler, anything that could make my life easier because I know that now I've booked it, or at least I've sent out 3 contact forms. I know someone at 8 a.m. will better give me a phone call. And most likely that plumbing company that gives me a phone call is going to get my business because they got my form, they fixed my problem, they're the first ones to call me back. That made my life easy. But what you were alluding to, Josh, the 3 companies I chose to submit that contact form to, 100% are companies that I had enough information to pull the trigger on. And things like pricing is 100% a hands down thing that's a non-negotiable anymore. People are price conscious. And if all we talk about is, the economy is going down, well, guess what? People are going to get more price conscious. So if you can give them all the answers, then when they call you and they've seen that, you don't have to sell them. Just like you said, they already know it's $99. They're going to say, hey, I need to schedule this. When can I get in? There's no negotiating. There's no talking about value. You can obviously mention all the things you'll do, make sure they, continue to have the appointment, upsell yourself. But it takes out all the unnecessary things you're making your office manager or you yourself as the business owner do every single fucking phone call because you will not put that information on there. And that's just, it's hurting you. It's taking away time. And it's honestly stopping someone from contacting you because if I can go to those 5 websites real quick for a plumber and only 2 of them mention pricing and they have reviews that I can go through this process, well, guess what? Those are only 2 freaking people I'm going to call because I don't have time to waste my time on 3 who are going to say, ours is actually $149, but we give more than the $99 guy. We'll get there 20 minutes faster. Dude, I already booked it with $99 guy because he called me at 8 a.m. because he had a contact form on his website and his, office lady got me the first thing in the morning. Like, no, you're too late. I couldn't do exactly what I needed. And I didn't know what this was. And all your reviews kind of look like shit. Why the fuck would I call you or choose you? That's the mentality we have to kind of get off. So that's the pedestal. I'll kind of back down from a hot second. But that's really kind of like when we talk, not just ranking, like SEO is about creating enough content and enough clues, signals to Google that you should rank for certain keywords when people put those keywords in for your area when they're looking for you. If you choose to avoid putting that information on your website, you'll never rank because Google is going to use that physical text on your site to pull you. So if you don't put it there, you're never going to rank and you're not going to get the conversions because people want to know so much more than what we used to. And to be frank on my last point, not every person who answers the phone is a good salesperson. So if you could perfect your message on the website, they're pre-sold before they get to Nancy, who's maybe had a bad day and says, I don't think we can fix that. You should call our competitor.
Yeah, that's probably an hour-long conversation in itself about who's answering your phone, who's representing your brand. To continue to talk about the website, talking about having information up there, people buy from people that they like. So you have to be able to create some way to connect with your audience, connect with your clients on your website as well. And I say that to ask a question. And my question is, what story should the website tell?
So you'll hear a million words in marketing, like the buyer's journey and your story, your origin story, the avatar. I mean, let's forget what fucking keywords are out there because I intermingle them because they change. It's all kind of
it's what's trendy.
It's what's trendy. And also what it comes down to the variant of things is your website should always speak to what the person needs at the end of the day. What I love is what our websites that talk about the client 100%. So backtracking to the very first thing Josh said about this episode is, guess what? My email didn't say jack shit about me in the first 2 paragraphs.
I know. And that's why I knew I wanted to have this conversation, because I'm a bastard when it comes to how people try to communicate with me. And if you open up a conversation with me talking about yourself, I'm not interested. And that's why. So I was also smart enough to know, okay, this is coming from a marketing company. They market in a way that resonates with me. So I am willing to have this conversation.
So I proved myself as a marketer. I'm going to brush my shoulder for that. But yes, I mean, what I was doing is, at that point, you give no shits about who I am. Mm-hmm. What can I do for you? So that's an example when it comes to marketing for a podcast. But just like trying to get a client to pick you versus the other 5 roofers out there, is because you're telling them exactly like, hey, here's how I make your life easier. I know that if your roof has an issue, these are your top 3 problems. You're stressed out. You don't have the time. You don't have the resources. And guess what? Here's A, B, and C, how we will fix that for you. That's all they need to know. Like, literally, you're trying to sell ice to Eskimos is what it's like. They already need you. So just make them understand through that, hey, we're going to take care of you. This is what we do and what we're good at. And you're laughing really hard. So I got to know what's going on in your head.
It's like, I'm laughing because it's amazing to me how many people, whether it through, personal conversations or through marketing, is the only thing that they're doing is reemphasizing that person has a problem. They know they have a problem. That's why they're looking for you. And a lot of companies, because what you said, it's like, oh, here are top 3 things. Like, you're stressed, you're this, you're that. You're identifying pain points, but then it's like, here's how we can solve those. So many clients and so many so many businesses and so many technicians, they get so wrapped up in the problem, and they volley this problem back and forth with the client, because the client goes, I know I have a fucking problem here. And then the technician takes it and go, oh, hey, this is your problem, and you hand it back. And it becomes this psychotic hamster wheel of problem identification, redundancy. There's no solution. And the client is going, what are we doing? I know I have a problem. That's why you're here. Why are you just elevating my pain by focusing on the problem? And that's why I was laughing, because it's like, God, if so many people in businesses and technicians understood that, like, you're there to solve the problem. Stop fucking focusing on the problem. Focus on the solution. Stop elevating their pain. Stop elevating their stress. Solve the problem. You do that on a website. You let them know, hey, we understand that you're stressed. We understand that this is inconvenient to you. We understand that there's going to be a cost burden. These are the things that we can offer to help alleviate those things.
Yes, 100%. And that's kind of, the thing I joke about is, because I'm more of a marketing director versus a salesperson, but I do all the strategies here, is I'll give you an audit. Like, I'll look over your website. I'll look at your SEO. And during our audit time, I don't like to bitch too much about the bad things you have, because you're already coming to me knowing things aren't successful. So why would I make, if it's half an hour, why would I make 20 minutes of it pointing everything wrong out just to make you say yes enough times? Because that's the psychological thing we're supposed to do during sale, is make you say yes enough. So by the time I ask you, will you work with me? It's an automatic yes. Mm-hmm. I hate that shit so much. I had to have someone come here and look at my windows, and guess what? Windows are the one thing I have not replaced yet, because window salespeople there's a special place in hell for them. And I'm sorry if you're a window salesperson. If you are a window person listening to this, then what you should take out of this is change your sales tactic to fucking day. Tomorrow is too late, because what you're doing is exactly that. You're telling me the things I already know. So instead, provide me solutions. Tell me things I don't know. And we relate that back to the website. Like, we call it the you statement, but it's the first big words you're going to see on the top half of the website. What I want that to be is what you're going to do for them. Mm-hmm. And the even way to simplify it is the words you might be in that. The words I should never fucking be in that statement, or we. because I don't care about you. I care about what you're going to do for me. So that's why everything within that is, okay, you're stressed out. So we provide A, B, and C, and D to make this an easier process for you. This is going to be a huge investment. So we offer free financing through our 3 different financiers. Like you're giving, yes, problem solution, but you're making it so much for every potential stop that they have, or every part that they question, or the different part in that sales where they're just like, I don't know. You're giving them more information to make them say, okay, this feels good. So again, like reviews, those are pure testimonials. But something I love my guys do on a website, which would be you talking about yourself, is if you had a short 90-second video on your homepage saying, hey, I'm Josh with ABC HVAC. Years ago, I got into this because I wanted just to help out some family members who were suffering in the winter and suffering in the summer because no one prioritized people in my neighborhood to get better HVAC services. So I said, screw that. And I wanted to make sure people in my neighborhood were completely taken care of. And I stand for my employees to have the exact same principles that I do. And I train them, and they have, they're not based on commission. So none of us are going to sell you hardcore. We're just going to provide you the solutions that you called us to fix. Wow, Josh, I want to buy from you because now you've told me everything to calm me down. And yes, you were talking about yourself, but you rephrased it in a way to sound everything I'm doing is because it's for you. And this is the reason why. And that's all the homeowner wants to hear at the end of the day is there's so much fucking shit that's going to go wrong and break in your house. And it's at some days just seems like a money pit. So who can I work with that I feel that if I spend a couple $1,000s with to fix something or a lot of $1,000, they're going to take care of me at the end of the day. And all those things feed into the answer and them feeling comfortable enough to pull the trigger with you.
On the website, how do you feel about people using generic pictures of work versus pictures of their own work?
Am I allowed to stab myself in the eye?
A lot of these questions that I'm asking are based on experiences that I've had or experiences that I have had with clients of mine.
Yes.
And some of these questions, I'm not even going to say that. These questions aren't generic or simple. This is actually how people operate every day. And that's why I asked that question. They build this website and they use Google Images and they upload these things to their website, and there's no relatability because it's not real. And I don't mean to answer the question for you. I'm sharing my experience.
No, we can beat this dead horse together. I'm absolutely fine with that. I loathe with a passion stock photos, and there's certain things that are showing how you do stuff, or we use these type of products. That's fine. Use stock images of if it's. I'm not going to name all the HVAC products, but like if you use all these brands and logos, you can 100% put those types of things. But what I see, and probably what you and I are completely killing in our head, is you open up that website and there's that HVAC guy holding that tool and just smiling at the camera because that's what they do during work. No, that's not what they do during work. So I absolutely hate it because it provides no exactly relevance to who you are, who's your culture, how big's your team. These are all things I'd rather have. It's like a picture of you in your truck, a team picture of everybody in front of the truck. Yes, if you have the money to blow on some really good photography, you can have a photographer take almost just like these HVAC type of things. But instead of looking back at the camera and smiling like you're the president shaking, and kissing a baby at the same time, it's more of the realistic expectations of what it looks like. Someone's maybe just shaking the homeowner's hand and going inside, but they're wearing the logo and, the branded merchandise within that. That's fine, but people don't expect their plumber, their HVAC guy, or their roofer to have the best photography, headshots, social media, beautiful imagery and videos. We don't expect it, but we do expect enough to understand that you're professional and you're a real and legitimate business. So if you even just got those bare things, picture of your truck, picture of your guys, a picture of before and afters, those are the basis you need to have there. And you can easily 100% build this gallery out more and more because every day you're doing these jobs. And every day you're going to have a before and an after, and you should be collecting these if not. But yeah, you're stabbing yourself in the foot because you're not differentiating yourself and it looks stereotypical as to every other website. So again, why should I choose you and what makes you special that you're going to take care of me if your website looks like 3 other guys who have Hibu and, everything's identical? Are you a real business or did I accidentally submit my information to Home Advisor again?
Yeah. You said you can work to continue to develop that gallery of photos. How often should a website evolve, and when is there a point of stagnation?
So if we look at it on a basis of projects and galleries, ways to talk about what we do, really, unless you're not showcasing everything you do. So for example, a roofing company brought on solar, but they have no imagery for solar on there, then we know we need to get on there. But if we have 3, 4, 5 really good examples of before and afters, then that content's not really going to get stagnant because solar is not going to change much. But these are really prime examples. And what I would rather have for most of my guys, I would rather have 3 perfect case study projects to put information around than just have 1,000 pictures and every time you do a new job, it's uploaded to the website. Because again, put yourself in the homeowner's shoes. If I'm going to spend $5,000 to $8,000 on a brand new HVAC unit for my home, and I can see that, before and after photos of you left it looking just as clean, if not better, on the outside unit, and the inside unit just looked retrofitted in perfectly, you cleaned up your mess. Wow. Okay, good. I want to see a few of those. And what I would prefer instead is multiple, less, and higher quality. So those before and afters, give me fucking bullet points of what you did for them. What was their problem? What did you do to solve this problem? And what did you suggest moving forward for them to make sure this never happens again? That would play a bigger role and effect on me to know how long it took for that customer to utilize your services, how quick was install, if that project actually had a review from those clients. Holy shit, 10 times better than adding, again, 100 photos over and over again. It doesn't get stagnant if you provide the really good quality. Every time we add something new on, we have to create that type of content, though, if that kind of helps separate the two.
No, I like that. Quality over quantity, but with the quality, there's a story.
Yes.
With them, you tell a story about that before and after, about that picture, what problems you solved, what that journey was. Walk that client through that journey with them, with that photo, and kind of that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and the other half of it, though, when we talk about SEO specifically, when it comes to how much to add content, that's a much different story. So content does not really get stagnant if it's evergreen. So what I mean by that is content that people are always going to ask that question over and over again. It's not just like a one-time thing. So how much does it cost to replace my HVAC system? That would be an article you would have on your website. Now, you should update these if things change. You should always update these if what and how you created them previously does not match the Google algorithm today. And I say that very slowly because the algorithm does change. However, the fundamentals and the basics of how to rank and what Google has always been looking for since day fucking one is the exact same. So if we can stay on that path, it's not that those articles are all of a sudden going to drop, but what you have to do is you have to create more content because your competitors are creating more content to answer those questions that no one else in the area has answered well enough yet. Or Home Advisor is answering it, Angie's List is answering it. But what Google wants now is actually local businesses closer to that person to have that article, and they want to rank them because Google knows most likely that person in that searcher is looking for a local business to utilize that service. And that's how the algorithm is getting better and better. And that's kind of why we used to, it has changed, but 5 years ago, I used to tell a lot of people, and it's somewhat the same for some local areas that are more rural. If you see Home Advisor and Angie's List popping up for simpler keywords that are very targeted towards your GeoCity, and if it's more of a small area, again, high populations, this is 1% different in. If we saw those pages, we knew that because of how the algorithm worked, if those people would just optimize their website, within a few months, they'd probably be close to the first page. Over a year or two, they would be on the first page. And now they would never have to pay a nickel or a dime to Home Advisor ever again because they actually got the rankings they needed to do. And there was that ability to do it because no one else was writing content. Nobody else was answering these questions. And again, pricing is a huge one. No one likes to talk about pricing, but guess what? If you do a Google search right now and just type in pricing, HVAC repair or your industry pricing and kind of do a few keywords, see who pops up. See if anyone has this information, because if they don't, or if there are websites that are ranking and they look like shit, that's the best thing you want to see. Because if you see shit, that means, you can polish your own turd of a website and outrank them one day. Because no, they're not doing it correctly. They're just ranking because of time and longevity that they've only ones that have had that article up there, if that makes sense.
through the website building, through SEO, through doing these things correctly, is there still an organic factor that comes into play?
Oh, exactly. I mean, 100%.
Okay.
And that's kind of where we focus mainly on that more organic side is when it comes to trades, unless I have a problem, I don't really want to talk to a roofer. I have no reason to reach out to you. And that's kind of where, to me, and that's why we specialize more in the organic side of everything when it comes to marketing, is because in the trades, no one needs you until they need you. And when they need you now. Mm-hmm. So if you're not then and there now, you're going to lose that lead generation side of it. So you can still do all types of marketing, but the biggest return on investment we see our guys do is when they just make sure specifically they're there when people are searching. And if 90 people start with their phone in their hand to search, then they're mainly going to those search engines. So that's where we would rather you be there and visible on Google when they're looking for you. So therefore you're in the dogfight versus you're nowhere near to be seen.
So from website to social media, how much work do you do on the social media side?
So we actually don't do any. I kind of refer out to partners for social media, and only on the reason being is because most of the businesses I work with in trades, they do pretty good if they like to kind of keep it in-house one. And I wholeheartedly support that. No one's going to know your day-to-day and your branding better than you. Within that,
sorry, I got the clap. I'm like, this is like, yes, I completely agree. Yes,
it's a hard thing to pass on. And the other side of it is, again, as a homeowner, I do not expect my plumber to have the most viral TikTok. I do not expect my roofer to have an amazing Instagram reel post day after day. I don't expect my HVAC guy to literally be having the best Facebook platform post organically ever. Why? Because on my days off, that's not what I'm looking at. Those aren't my hobbies. Those aren't my interests. And homeowners, that's not there either. So what I'd rather my guys do, if you need to run ads, partner with someone. Like there are people who are obviously looking and they're typing in words, and as crazy as algorithms are getting, we can track and target people and retarget people who are looking for those keywords. However, if you know that's really kind of not the generation for you, the best use of your time would be to at least get one post a week out of just showing a job, showing one of your employees. Is this their anniversary? Is it a birthday? Does someone have a baby? Hey, here's a job we did. Here's a review from a client. Here's our testimonial. Here's a special we have. You could just do 4 posts in a month, 1 a week. And for me as a homeowner, let's just say again, my AC broke. It's 2020, Brittany's crying. It's hot summer July, and my HVAC broke right before 4th of July. I know guys because I'm in the trade. However, let's pretend Brittany is not doing what she's doing, has no fucking clue. She's a normal homeowner that deals in insurance. I would go straight to Google because I'm on my laptop at home. It's 2020, it's COVID. And I would type in HVAC repair near me. I would see the Google Maps, I'd see the ads, and probably I would go, just how I operate, I'm going to go for people who have the most and the highest score of reviews. I'm going to look at their websites. I'm going to see if I can see some information on pricing, see any more information about do they do and work on what I fix? Are they installers? Like I 100% need installers, and hey, I know I need a new unit because mine's 17 years old. What units and what brands do they work with? Are they even going to fix mine? Are they going to put me on a Linux versus York? Like what the fuck are they going to do with it? You have already answered all my questions by that time. I'm kind of going through that process. It's so much easier for me to, at that point, have that trust in you and go through that process. And from there, I might use your social media just to double check.
There it is.
That's what it's going to be. Is I'm just going to make sure you're alive and you're well, and the reviews on your Facebook aren't all ones, because that's kind of what we see is, and a lot of guys I talk to, they might have 45-star reviews on Google, but they have all these 1 stars on Yelp. People will cross-check these different social platforms to make sure you look good. So you want to worry more about your reviews on these websites than your posts, but the posts can be there to make up in the interim information you want to give to your clients really super simply. That's what I love it for the most. And that's where I see the biggest bang for buck for those guys, because you're getting some interaction. But again, I'm using that probably to see if you have a coupon out, because I'm a frugal bitch. And I'm checking everywhere to make sure it looks good. And I probably found it. I got excited. And then I called you because I knew, hey, oh my God, I could at least get 10% off this unit. Holy crap. That's a huge offer for me. I'll take that $500 off and call you immediately. Everything looks good. I don't see awful reviews. Your posts look like you're alive and well, and you have more than a team of just one. I will call you. So
that's it.
They all go together.
The social media, again, back to what I was saying about websites, like, not having to continue to have this evolution of photos on the website. That's what social media is for.
Yeah.
You can post a picture of a job every day if you want. I encourage people, it's like allow the social media to do what you just said, validate what you're saying on your website, but also that gives them a place to feel like they know you, because they can go on your Instagram, and if you are doing self-recording videos where you're talking about the deck that you're building or the new air conditioner that you put in, that automatically creates a personal connection with people, and it's a great place to do that. An experience I have with, and I'm going to use this to kind of start segueing down the business avenue, but a lot of contractors that I work with, or a lot of business owners, they work for generals. They work for other contractors, so they operate as subcontractors. And I always ask them, I said, have you ever met a superintendent or a general contractor that looked for you on Instagram? I said, no. Superintendent is not sitting in their trailer going, God, I wish I could find an HVAC guy, and on Instagram looking for HVAC guys.
Yeah.
They're either going to use the referral source from other contractors that they have a good working relationship with, or they're going to do a Google search. And because I've worked for contractors and superintendents that may be from out of town that come in, and now they need to find someone local to fill the void of some of this project. So they're going to look for you, through Google and possibly to your website. Either way, once you get an introduction to that person and you have a conversation with them, they're going to verify, they're going to validate what you do by your social media. They're going to validate what you do by the stuff that you have on your website. So if your website isn't up to date, well, then that throws a red flag to them as well. Yeah, we do this type of work, but that type of work is not listed or advertised at all on your website. Well, then it's like, okay, well, is this the first time they're doing this? Are they lying to me? Where's the experience? So, I tell people, I said, look, a lot of people will use your social media to validate who you say you are. I've learned in small town, when I had my HVAC company, the town we were in was 5,500 people, and it was surrounded by small rural areas. People used Facebook as a search engine, but not necessarily a search engine, but a referral engine.
Yes.
So they're like, oh yeah, call Brittany. So what they do is they either go to your social media or go to your website, go to a Google search, and then they look for you that way, and then that's how they're going to try to connect with you. But again, it's a great form of validation, because if you get a referral from somebody, they trust you on a higher level as if they were just cold calling you because they have a problem. So having that kind of intertwined, that inner working structure of marketing, where your website, your social media, the things that you do are complementing one another and not contradicting one another, and it allows people to know that you're a real person and you have a real team, I think it's really important for people to understand, why that's important. You please add on before I get down this business avenue.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think that a lot of times what stumps business owners a little bit, or where they kind of get stuck, is they heard it. They've seen some people say they got huge success with social media. They spend a lot of time on it. But yet, again, back to my previous bitching, they didn't track it. And that's kind of where, I'm not going to shit on social media, because there are businesses who have obviously gained overnight success because of things like social media. However, most of your guys, that's not what's going to happen to your business. And if you think that it could, just track it. So therefore you can actually see, like, I spent 30 days, 60 days, 90 days consecutively doing A, B, and C. Here's all the data for me to measure exactly afterwards. Should I spend my time on this or not? And I think the aspect of social media is easier to understand. And unlike a website, I push, the post button, and boom, my picture goes live, versus I got to email my website guy, or I got to learn how to log into Wix and how to scale this image. It is much harder. So I do love social media on that side of post the behind the scenes, post what you're doing, get that information out there. But that is, to me, a supplement of conversion for your business, not always going to be the lead generation factor for your business. So again, you spend your time wisely based on what's going to bring the most money in for you. And that's kind of where, yes, I'd love guys to post more actively on social media if they have progress reports or they're at different homes showing what they do. But if you don't have that time, if you're a one-man shop, like literally going back to my one post a week, is going to be absolutely 100% enough for your business to just show you're live, you're well, and validation that you do those services you speak of.
Now I'm going to open a can as I go down this business thing, and I'm going to share my observations and my experiences. Is really starting with the internal brand of the company. Meaning, do you have something worth marketing? And more importantly, behind that, what is it that you stand for? Do you have some sense of merchandise or uniform? Do you have core values and principles? Do you have requirements for people on your team? Do you even have a brand to build? Or more importantly, do you even have a brand that you can market? And my experience is a lot of these people that operate at, kind of lower level, where they don't mess with marketing, they don't worry about the brand at all or the experience. They get up every day, they put whatever raggedy ass clothes they have on, they get in their truck or whatever vehicle they're operating out of, and by the time they get to this customer's home, they flick a cigarette out on the lawn, they smell like a bag of ass, and they're there to create the worst experience possible for the customer, and then they bitch and complain because they're not making any money. They're literally going broke trying to do this. And now I also know companies that literally showed up working out of the back of a Bonneville and now operate multi-million-dollar companies because they didn't allow that to become their identity. Yes. Right? They actually built something worth marketing and worth branding, but that's where they started. I'm not beating up the guys that have to start wherever they have to start. Trust me, I get it. I'm talking about the guys that continue on this hamster wheel of complaining and not problem solving. Also, when you look at a business, and this is the rest of the can I want to open, it's also when you look at a business and you have to look internally and go, okay, can I handle more leads? Can I handle more opportunity to be in front of people? Do I have systems in place that are going to allow me to grow and be successful? Do I have people in my company, or unless you're a single owner operator, am I representing my brand and my behavior? Am I going out into the market every day and putting a staple in the market and going, this is what we stand for, this is what we offer, these are the problems that we solve, this is the experience that we create? And if you have a team or people on your team doing the same thing. So my experience, and this is kind of circling too, it's like I've seen companies go out of the gate in marketing and not even building brand, but building lead generation. They're not even building market awareness. They're building lead generation. The phone starts ringing, and they don't have the things that they need to take care of the customer. So what happens is they invest this money, they get the result, sometimes a better result than they expected, and then they damage the market because they don't know how to run a business, they don't know how to communicate with a client, they don't know how to operate a schedule and dispatch, they don't have systems in place that's going to make them successful, and then they bitch and complain to marketing, the marketing company or the marketing person, or they start blaming other factors as to why now they're not able to be successful.
Yeah. So it's kind of something that I'm glad we're speaking about it, because it's kind of like the first bottleneck that I mentioned to anybody. Like, all right, we're talking about marketing. This is great, but do you have the systems in place where therefore you're not going to hate me in 6 months when I'm saying, hey, we had 30 phone calls last month. How'd they go? And you say, I booked 2. So obviously this is not working. And I say, this is 30 unique phone numbers with your area code. What the fuck do you mean you only closed 2 of them? What happened? Well, Nancy sent a few to our competitor, so I didn't know that she wasn't trained. She didn't know all of our services. 2 of them never called back. Sorry, actually, 20 of them I didn't call back.
There it is.
I'll be honest about that.
That's the big one, yeah.
It's all those things that kind of go together with it, where you're only hurting yourself more. And the reason, so like one thing I put in my strategies, just to be very frank, is if you go long term with us, I put business consulting in here, because you have got to have it. No business can scale quickly without the proper methods and processes and team in place. And if you don't check yourself on all those things, then yes, you can have the best marketing in the world. Does not mean your business is going to be at all successful, because you cannot sustain that growth. You were not prepared. We did no proactive planning for this. So yes, all those things kind of go together with it. I'd like to go back a little bit. You mentioned either the owner or the employee that shows up with the cigarette thrown off, the frumpy look, the not clean. That's one thing as well, that something I've noticed is certain companies, when they do start to grow and they're able to give their techs better clients to go out to, they have better websites, better marketing materials, good fucking information on their website. So when that tech goes out there and says, here's the system we would suggest for you because it's non-repairable, these are our 3 packages, it could be however you want to present it, but hey, also, this is a big investment. So I'd like you to watch our process video on our process page on our website. We also have all the reviews of everyone who's had a complete full install of all their HVAC shit. I mean, you can name all these things, and guess what? The homeowner's going to go, thank you. Because 30 minutes ago, I kicked out John, Jim, Joe's HVAC in a truck and smelled like asshole. You can still smell them in here. And you actually had all of your shit together. And again, the one thing I heard from these guys is, their employees did better, they were more successful, and they were happier because guess what? They made more money because a lot of these guys are paid somewhat on commission. You get a service agreement or you sign up a maintenance agreement, boom, you get money. You get a review from that client, boom, you get money. Why the fuck would you not want to line these guys up to make more money? And it's kind of the problem I get upset with is business owners kind of know this, but then they're not fully giving the things they need to make their business as successful as possible. And it's all those little things that add up. It's not just once I get the phone to ring for you. What is that client's experience the minute they call you? And actually, even the minute before when they reach your website, that's on me. Did I get what I needed to present you in the best light possible? But once they call your phone number, it is 1% in your ballpark. I cannot control a damn thing after that. So you are 100% the responsible adult in charge of converting that phone call into some form of business to help pay for all of your business expenses. You have to do those things. Sorry, I'll get off my pedestal again, but this is, it's the thing I hate the most, because if we don't proactively think about some of these things, it's only going to make it harder. So some of my clients do get surprised that one page I want on almost everybody's website, especially for something a little bit harder to understand potentially, like if you're an electrician, unless you're rewiring a complete house, most people kind of understand you're just going to come in and fix the issue and leave. If you have a foundation issue, huge structural repair type of issue, well, there's a lot of stages that's going to go into this. There's going to have evaluations. They might have professional evaluators out there, engineers. Then they'll give you the proposal. Then they'll go through stages. And it could be a 6-week time process to level and whatever it might be. That process page is 100% going to help line that client up with their expectations and even simpler for them. I mean, you have made it so much easier for the client. But when I ask these business owners, what's that process look like? They kind of spat it off, but they kind of get surprised. And we're like, all right, so like no follow-up call. You don't follow up after you give them the quote. We're like, no, why would we do that? Because
they'll call me if they want to buy.
You got a quote. This is the reason they close, is because you follow up. You're doing these extra touch points, but yet those are falling to the wayside.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide what direction I want to go, because there's so many.
There's so many things we could bitch about. So which one do you want to be most passionate and riled up for?
To play on our topic, there's a lot of things that we can offer that can solve these problems for people. Yes. And to your point, it's so important to involve the client in the journey. If they call you, you go out there, you tell them what you think they need, and you give them a price, and you leave and you wait for them to call you. That is a transaction. All you have created is a transaction, and that's how most companies operate today, especially in the trades, because they rely on their ability, their skill set to solve problems and make them successful. If you understand that your job is to not go out there and tell them what they need, your job is to go out there and ask them what they want, identify what their problem is, ask them what they want, and then create option-based solutions for them, giving them the freedom, giving them the flexibility to choose what they believe is going to best solve their problem. And this is based on you informing and educating your client. And then you you include them in that journey. Your foundation example is a great example, because you're talking about something that is going to take, weeks, potentially months from beginning to end. If you don't include that client in that journey and have processes in place that allow you to effectively communicate with them, even if you just reach out to them once a week, if we're 6 weeks out from where we're going to start digging, but I reach out to you once a week and go, hey, Brittany, this is Josh with ABC Excavation. Just letting you know, we still have you on the schedule for 5 weeks out. Our calendar is looking well. The 2-week forecast on the weather still looks favorable. Just wanted to let you know that everything is still moving. We've got this. I'm just going to keep you involved. That is a 5-minute conversation.
Yeah. And I know we kind of talked a little bit about Field Pulse. I have not gotten 1% into it, but there's a lot of apps similar to that. And I'm sure that you can create this system. So like when I called a few HVAC guys, because guess what? I knew a few, and guess what? I'm going to challenge you as my client to make sure you have a good follow-up system. So I'm using you in hopes that you're doing the stuff that I've been preaching forever for you to do. But I had some clients, or sorry, not clients, but like different companies where I got the text, like I made the phone call, I got immediate text with my confirmation of my time. Great, thank you. I'm pretty organized. I put it in my calendar immediately, but I'm glad to see that text match to make sure my date and my time matches your date and your time, because no homeowner wants the call if we're here, no one's here. When I'm like, I booked this 3 weeks ago, like this was supposed to be Wednesday at noon. They're like, no, it's Tuesday at noon. So just that little bit there was great. And then I got a follow-up text a week before. Josh will be your technician showing up to, and the joke I make is when you can give a little bit to someone, just a hair of information, how much more I can relate to you. Josh has been with the company for 9 years and has two baby chihuahuas at home. It makes you so friendly to come, like, and especially the idea of, okay, if we go with stereotypes and statistics, if it's mainly the wife or a woman that's home alone, anything and everything you can do to make her feel more comfortable to open her door up is 1% going to get you sold. So guess what? The company that sent me that text told me who was coming. He came, did a great job, did not stink, had good clothes on, did not make my house a mess, left. I got, within a couple minutes, the email proposal. I got an email text follow-up say, just to make sure we did send you the email, check your spam if you didn't get it. And then a week later, I got a follow-up text message and a follow-up email and then a follow-up call. Those things made my life so easy because I didn't answer the first email. I was still thinking about it. Then the text came through and they said, hey, do you still have questions or are you still thinking on it? Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. And they say, okay, would you want to set up a phone call to ask any questions you have to us? Yeah, actually, that'd be great. Okay, well, we're free anytime tomorrow. What time? 10? Okay, perfect. We'll put you in for 10 minutes on 10. If it takes longer, we have time, but we don't want to take up much of your time if you don't have any questions. Okay, thanks. Oh my God. I know that might seem like a lot, but these are things you put into place. They are literally one time and done systems you can create that are streamlined and just start the process every time. And that's more your area as far as, to kind of make this business work. But from the client and from the marketing standpoint on my side, you have 100% turned me into most likely a client of yours because the other guy that I talked to did not do these things, did not follow up. Maybe they mailed me the quote, which is okay. I kind of like paper. That's fine. But no follow-up after that. So
right.
All I got was one thing in the mail. And I was kind of glad because guess what? I didn't choose them. But you would hope that these businesses realize, why is no one ever calling us back after we mail these quotes out? Why are we not closing as high percentage as our competitors? And it's probably because buy their services from them or fake it out as if you are. You'll probably see they're going to touch that client and you 10 times more than you're touching your clients.
And everything that you just described is the difference between creating a transaction and creating an experience. And the experience will win every time with the clients that you want.
Yes.
And I want to make sure I'm very clear on that because if you have a transactional client and all they care about is the cheapest, you don't want that client anyway. Creating the experience will win every single time with the client that you want. Because they want to, again, they want to be included. They want to be involved. They want to be part of the journey. Something you had mentioned earlier, you said, when we expect a technician or, have a technician come in, there's an expectation that they're going to come in, fix the problem, and leave. But you also mentioned you have to make that client, especially if it is the woman of the house, but you have to make that client comfortable to allow you to come in. One of the things that I work and to be honest with you, one of the things that made us really successful in an HVAC company is because everybody treated their customers transactional. We treated our clients with experience, and we wanted to make sure that they did feel comfortable and safe, and allow our technicians to, come into the house. I joke, like, I know what I look like. And if I'm standing in your doorway and I'm filling up your doorway, it can be intimidating to let a strange man, into your home to fix your air conditioner. It's my responsibility as a technician to gain that sense of trust, to create that sense of safety that's going to allow them to give me the opportunity to come into their home. I think that the expectations that are placed upon technicians or repairmen is really, really low. It's really low because if you have, you mentioned that your water heater was leaking. The expectation of that entire experience is probably something like this. Okay, I have a problem. I need someone to come in and fix it. And the two or three things that I hope they fix the problem. I hope it's not too expensive, and I hope they don't leave a mess.
Yeah.
That is the bar of expectation when having repairmen come in. A technician and a good operating company, good leaders, good systematic operations, good marketing is going to answer all of those questions before the problem is ever begun to get solved. Before anybody shows up to replace that water heater, you're going to feel safe. You're going to know what the investment is going to be. You know that we're going to clean up our mess. You know that we're going to follow up in a week and ask if the water temperature is appropriate, and if not, do we can send a technician out to adjust the water temperature. I'm going to address these things. I'm going to continue to involve that client in that experience even after the experience is done. And this is something too I think a lot of people miss is once the work is done, they leave that client out to dry. They leave them kind of abandoned on this island. The whole journey,
unless their invoice isn't paid. That's the only time follow-up's done.
then they're on the client's ass all the time. But it's like you create this great experience for them, and then you get done, and then it's over. It's just you feel ghosted. You're like you had an amazing date, and they didn't call you the next day, or they didn't respond to you the next day. It's like, what did I do wrong? What happened? And systematically, you can put operating metrics into your company, operating systems in your company, where in a week that client is going to receive an email or a text message, or you're going to get a notification and reminder that says, hey, I need to call Brittany today. Creating a systematic way for your business to operate, to create the best experience for the client, and to be able to create, I'm saying create a lot, create the opportunity to have them with you on that journey. And so to circle back to my point of what I was talking about with business, I'm going to share how the minimal advice that I give to my clients with marketing, because I believe that they need to have infrastructure in place to best benefit from proper marketing, right? I fully believe that. If you have shitbags for repairmen and you get lead generations in, you're going to have a lot of pissed off clients, plain and simple. So I look at kind of a 4-tier process of marketing, and I'll just run through these quickly. I said, 1, you have to make sure that all of your clients are aware of all of your services. So if you work on furnaces and air conditioners and you're also a plumbing company, they need to know that you're also a plumbing company. And there's a story that I learned that lesson a long, long time ago. But so the first is just all of your clients need to know about all of your services. That right there is going to generate more work for you. Right there. You're going to have more opportunity to solve more problems with the people that already trust you. They just don't know that you do this. So tier 1, all clients need to know all services. Tier 2, referrals. Right? Referrals is not asking them, hey, can I have the phone number of someone that you think that we could work for? It's not something as stupid as that. A referral is a Google review, a website review, whatever platform they have to set up their review. The referral is also going to say, Brittany, thank you so much for the opportunity to take care of you and your family. We really pride ourselves in our ability and the service work that we offer. If you have any friends or family that you would like us to take care of, please have them reach out to us. We would love that opportunity as well. That's something. Go ahead.
And to hammer on that point even more, what you're saying earlier, we've all heard this phrase. People don't remember what was said, but they remember how you made them feel. So if you, throughout this entire buyer's journey, make them feel great, make them feel comfortable, by the time you get to the end and you're asking for these things, it is a slam dunk. And it's kind of why I joke, because I've heard people say that, you know what, my technicians, they're not my sales guys. So I shouldn't expect my guys to ask for the same things my sales guys ask for. And the caveat I give with that is we're all fucking adults. So if you're telling me a grown adult can't stand for 10 seconds and say, how does it look? It seems to be running, like, how do you feel about that? Like, oh, this is great. Thank you so much for coming, at an early time to get us fixed this morning up so that our AC was running again. You're already doing that because you have to ask to make sure they're okay with it before you leave. I'm sure every business owner makes their employees do this. And at the end, they say, okay, great. The best compliment we could ever receive is if you could give us a review. Would you be willing to do that really quick for us? You ask in person, you're always going to get the yes. No one ever says no. Remember that. And then psychologically, the reason we want to ask in person is because we're more likely, when we follow up with some type of communication to make sure you get that review from that very happy client, is they're more likely to do it because they've already asked and they have that kind of internal guilt. Oh, they did do a good job. And I did promise Josh, that really nice tech, that I would leave that review. Yeah, I'll go do it. And again, that doesn't work perfectly every single time. But because you start that process from the beginning, you're making it more seamless for them to get to the end and say, well, hell yeah, I want to refer your company because I worked with ABC HVAC and they were overpriced. The guy smelled and they didn't put any boots on. So I just had mud tracks in and out of my house the whole day. All of those things add up to where, getting to your point with it, people say that, getting referrals and getting reviews is like pulling teeth. And I completely agree that it does feel like pulling teeth from your clients. But if you made that Novocaine at the very beginning, where this was so stress-free for them, this was such an awesome experience, then you are already to the point where they want to know everything you have to do because they only want to use you and they want Josh to come back out to fix them. And when you do ask for help, they're more willing to give it because you treated them so well. So it's just one thing that I always kind of like to throw in there when we talk about getting those reviews and those referrals, and kind of how you want to talk about like making the client feel from day one moving forward, is because you're going to make that process of building that relationship versus that transaction with them even stronger from the beginning. That starts with your marketing, with your information. It starts again when you have the sales process with them, and it starts again when you go through the close and you have the follow-ups with them. It is throughout the entire time. And hopefully I've talked over that alarm enough.
No, yeah, that's damn thing. And here's what I like is referrals, all right, tier 2 being referrals. This is where your website, your market presence, starts to come into play, because the moment you get a referral, they're going to go check you out. Back to what we were talking about earlier with validation. They're going to look at your website. They're going to look at your social media stuff. So tier 2, that really starts to come into effect. Tier 3, it really starts to come into effect because tier 3 is the hit list. Who is it that you want to be your client? Who is it that you want to do work for? Whether it's a neighborhood, a contractor, a specific type of work, you create the hit list and you start going after those people. When you start going after those people, guess what they're going to do? They're going to check your website. They're going to check your social media. They're going to check references. You have
Wait, Josh, are you saying we should have a clear vision of who we want to work with before we even get into this shit?
Geez. How much time do we have?
That sounds like a lot.
How much time do we have? And, so having that hit list and going after those people, which, by the way, not only do you need your marketing in check, you need your operating systems in check, your team operating efficiently. You need
to be able to handle these hits when they come in.
Which ultimately brings me to tier 4. And by the way, as I walk through these tiers with my client, I tell them, I said, your goal is to get everyone to tier 1. All of your clients need to know what all of your services are. That is your goal, to educate and inform them to get to tier 1. So tier 4 is broadband marketing. Facebook ads, commercials, spending money on social media, casting a wide net so you can get market awareness, maybe recognition, maybe get some phone rings, but you want to funnel them through all the way to tier 1. Yep. So that's how I approach.
And what Josh forgot to mention real quick, listeners, is you're tracking all of that broadband marketing you're doing. So therefore, when you relay it back to going back to 4, where you should keep going with that.
No, and I appreciate you saying that. And this is why I enjoyed our conversation last week. This is why I'm enjoying this conversation today, because my brain doesn't work that way, because I don't think about marketing metrics. I build leadership. I build people. And but you're right. You have to track that. Where, if you're dumping $10,000 a year into fucking Facebook ads and you don't know if it's paying for itself. I know when we did TV commercials were very expensive.
Yeah.
Everything from, we had drone footage and all kinds of crazy shit. It worked for us. We did get a lot of business from the TV commercials, but you have to track that. So I appreciate that interjection. But it's like, kind of, maybe, I don't know if it'll conclude this, but to kind of play on your point, it's like, who you want to work for. The question I ask my clients is, what is it that you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? It doesn't have to limit in what you do in the marketplace, but it's about building brand awareness. That, when I had my HVAC company, if somebody even whispered the word geothermal, they thought of us.
Yeah.
Our brand marketing was based around geothermal. What the cool thing was is we worked on everything and installed everything from mini splits to walk-in refrigeration units to 100-ton rooftops, and every single thing in between, light commercial and residentially. Our brand awareness, we were the experts in geothermal. People need to know what they want to be known for, and what they want to be known for, they have to identify who they want to do that work for. Identify that client.
Yeah.
And when you build your company, you build your brand, you build your marketing plan and market plan, those things need to align. And objectively, you want them to connect down the road.
Yes.
Right? So that's my that's how I share marketing with people and what they need to do. What I like about what you do and the company One Thing Marketing does is, I know in our conversation last week, is you also believe that. You got to be able to identify who you want your client to be. You need the infrastructure to have a successfully operating company so you can handle the lead generation, handle the market awareness, market expansion. And they go so well hand in hand. So, like I said, I don't know if that'll conclude it, but that's my take. That's my insight that I share with my clients on marketing structure.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing I would add to it is, you need to think about that vision, and everybody else on your team has to be on board with it, because that's the only way it's going to get you back up to the tier 1. The clients being on the same page is everyone who's talking to the clients is on the same page with it. And that's kind of where when we talk marketing with this, we're always asking you, like, what is your value? Like, what do you stand for? What's your differentiator? Like, what the hell do you do differently? What made me want to call you? And a lot of times business owners haven't thought about that. So, I mean, it's not as basic as it seems. Everyone who's listening, like, can you shout out right now what that thing is? Or are you thinking for still 5 more seconds to think of what that thing is? Those are things that you just have to kind of understand, because if you don't know what it is, and your clients aren't going to know what it is, your employees are not going to be able to stand by that, and you're not going to be able to market why you're different and expand that base and scale and do everything you want to do from that. So it is 100% how they relate back and forth. I mean, it's just the monster feeding the next monster.
All right. I want to bring this all the way back down to the services that you offer and that your company offers. And I'm going to throw out an example, because this was asked of me by one of my clients. I feel like they're about to come through that wall. So I have a client that does landscape and hardscape on some pretty high end. He's getting ready to invest in a drone. Is this something that people can get this information, they can take this footage, these pictures, and then send to you, and you build their websites, or you update their websites, or what is that relationship look like between you and the client?
Yes. So exactly what you just mentioned is how we can work with them. So ideally, we build websites to begin with. We have to have that place to land with. But what more of our focus on afterwards with our services is really either the search engine optimization, so SEO, or any other type of digital marketing methods, which could be like PPC or Google Ads, and reviews. Like those are kind of the main forces in which we work with on that side of it. And it's kind of, as I said, from what we've been talking about this over hour, is these are all the base areas everyone's going to check in for a person in the trades before they book you, call you, or anything. So if they do give a referral to you, these are still the kind of places they're checking out. So to mention this, yes, I do not create the drone footage, but I want my guys to create their own content, and if you don't have, everyone has an iPhone now, you can do great things with it, but if not, there's great local photographers and videographers to work with to have this, because yes, I want to have some of that because I want to showcase your business in the best light. But as we talked about earlier, you don't have to make me a new drone every week. Like we don't have to keep adding and adding and adding unless you're going to give me more content to say about what you did with these projects. People just don't need to watch 500 drone videos over and over again. That's not where your homeowner is going to spend their time. But instead, we're going to focus on making sure your website looks good, and then making sure that what services you provide, we're trying to rank you in those areas in which you want to provide those services, whether organic or paid search. Our focus is to kind of make sure you show up in those areas and kind of help you create that follow-up process to get those reviews from those clients, which again just helps us transfer more people from prospects into clients. That kind of helps summarize the main aspects of what we focus on. So as I alluded to earlier, we don't do social media. We don't do some smaller things such as that area, but just like Josh and I have referral partners who I trust and kind of help with this. But that's kind of more of the best ROI areas I'm focusing on for my guys is really just someone's typing in HVAC repair near me and where the hell do you need to be? And that's where I want to focus on getting you at that time.
Tell me about this ebook.
Oh man, it was a secret, Josh. No, I'm kidding. For everyone who's listening today, we've actually created a ebook that is like 9 basic marketing strategies you need to do that are mainly all digital. So some of these might be something you've heard of before. It might be something we alluded to a little bit in this, but I do get more technical the further up the numbers you go into things such as content marketing, link building, and a little more specialty tactics such as that. So if you actually just go to our website, onethingmarketing.net, there is a link for the ebook to download right on our homepage right there to give you all the down and dirty 9 tips I would suggest during your strategy. But if you don't like to read, if you don't want to read, and you just know you are in a shithole right now and need some help, luckily for you, there's still a button on that same website that says free strategy session, and you can click that link. It'll go to my calendar. We will talk. You can bitch, moan, and complain to me about your website. I will either help validate your concerns or I will help show you kind of the solution around it, which would be more of the conversation with it. But really, yes, all my goal is to help educate as many trade businesses as possible. Whether you use us or not, I'm not always going to be a great fit for everybody, but I would like to give you some good education. So if you do find someone local in your area, or if you hire internally for someone to help you with this, you got a good game plan of what's going on, because there is a lot of muddled conversations out there on how you should do some things, especially with SEO. And I would just rather you know the truth versus doing some things and getting into trouble and having to start all over again on that side of it. So that's kind of what we offer anyone the trades. If anyone wants to reach out to me, I actually do have a more personalized version for different industries, HVAC, plumbing, electric, and roofing and remodeling are the ones we have different ebooks for, if that'd be more up your alley. But the trades book is most likely the closest for everybody to kind of just get things double checked that you're doing right now. And if not, the first 9 things you need to start on immediately with your marketing game plan.
Throughout this wide-ranging conversation, is there anything that we've missed that you want to bring into this?
I think I'll just die in the hill of whatever you're doing is not wrong. Just put a fucking call tracking number on it today. So therefore, you know that you are spending your money wisely. And if you want other ideas, please book a strategy session with me. I have a million other ideas of how to track this shit if you have no clue, or if a marketer is telling you can't track it. That is a lie. So please, that's what maybe the one myth I'd love to break today is that you can't track everything. You 100% can track everything. When it comes to marketing, you have to, because that's the only way we know we're going to be doing better or not.
Is the website the best way to get in touch with you?
Yes, the website through that strategy session would be the easiest way.
Okay.
And there's also, you can reach me at Brittany@onethingmarketing.net if you just have some questions via email. But yes, go ahead and book either of those two. And that's what I offer, free 30 minutes to sit down and brainstorm. And you do not have to work with me afterwards. Obviously, I would love to help, but let me just give you the right information so you have the right decisions moving forward.
I will tell everyone listening to this, 30 minutes with Brittany will completely change your perspective and outlook on how you're operating your business and how you're approaching the market with brand awareness. So get on onethingmarketing.net, get on her calendar, have a conversation with her. She's not going to sell you anything. She's going to help you identify solutions. And if they're the best solution, then you have a decision to make. So Brittany, hour and a half into this, like what a great opportunity for me to have this conversation with you. I'm definitely grateful for you reaching out and offering up your expertise and adding value to me and the listeners. And I'm really excited about our referring partnership moving forward and us working together. So guys, go check out Brittany at onethingmarketing.net. I'll put the link in the show notes as well, so you can talk to her then. You can find Nate on Instagram at NateNewton87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Emails thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Websites thetradesmanexperience.com. And the YouTube channel is The Tradesman Experience. Brittany, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Josh.
Guys, get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See ya.